Okay, in 7.4a, we're going to be solving rational equations. We're going to be solving problems that we've been doing. So if I give you these two fractions, 3/4 is now equal to x over 4. 3/4 is equal to x over 4. And now I want you to solve. I want you to solve for x. I need to figure out what x has to be in order to make these two equal. So if I have 3 over 4 is equal to x over 4, what would x equal? 3, right? Wouldn't 3/4 be equal to 3/4, right? So I know that x would equal 3. So what if I gave you this problem? Well, what if I gave you that problem? 5 over x minus 2 is equal to x over x minus 2. What do you think x would be? 5. Why do you say 5? That would make them equal. That would make them look exactly the same, right? But only because the denominators are the same. If my denominators were different, I couldn't say that x equals 1 now, right? Because they're not the same. 1/4 wouldn't be the same as 1/5. But if I can get my bottoms to be the same, then my top should be the same. So if I can get these bottoms to be the same, so what would the common denominator of 4 and 5 be? If I can get this to be a 20 and this to be a 20, what do I multiply 4 by to get it to be a 20? 5. What do I multiply this 5 by to get it to be a 20? 4, so I'd have to multiply the top and the bottom. Now are my bottoms the same? Bottoms are both 20 now. So then the top should be what? The same. So could I do this? 5 equals 4x. 5 equals 4x, and solve from there. So what would x equal? 5 over 4. Right? So if I can get my bottoms to be the same, the top should be the same. Once I get my bottoms to be the same, can I just totally ignore those bottoms and just worry about the tops? Right? That's what we're doing today. Ready? All right, so I have example number 1. And they're asking me to solve now. Now I have equal to signs in my problem. All the other ones we've done so far, 7.1 and 7.2, didn't have equal to signs. We were just multiplying or dividing. We weren't solving. We didn't have equal to signs. I want to figure out what x equals. Well, before I can combine any of those fractions, I have to have what? What? Common denominator. Before I can subtract these two fractions, I have to have a common denominator, right? If I can get all my denominators the same, what should be the same? The tops. So then I can worry about the tops, right? All right, so if I want a common denominator, this guy, the first guy, only has an x. What does he still need that the other guys have? If I put a 2 on the bottom, then I have to put a 2 on the top. The middle guy only has a 2. What does he still need that the other guys have? An x. I have to put an x on the bottom and an x on the top. What does the last guy need? Nothing. He already has the 2 and the x, right? So now that my bottoms are the same, can I just get rid of the bottoms? Ignore them for now. Once my bottoms are the same, let's get rid of them. What's on top? 4 minus 3x equals 7. Right? Once my bottoms are the same, the tops should be the same, and I can ignore them and just worry about the tops. So now can you solve that? What would you do first? Subtract the 4. I get negative 3x equals 3. Divide by negative 3. And I get x equals negative 1. Get an answer. One answer. X equals negative 1. I need to always check my answer. 1, it's going to give me 100% on my test in a few days. But 2, I need to make sure that it works and makes sense. Okay? If I go back to my original problem, and plug in a negative 1, it should work and make sense. So I would have 2 over negative 1 minus 3 over 2 equals 7 over 2 times negative 1, right? I'm just plugging in a negative 1 wherever I see an x. Okay? What is negative 2 divided by, or excuse me, 2 divided by negative 1? Negative 2 minus 3 halves equals negative 7 over 2. 7 over negative 2, same thing. Okay? So now do those make sense? Well, let's look at this left side. In order to be able to put the 2 with this 3 halves, what would I need? Same denominator. Thank you. Right now the denominator here is a 1. So what does he still need? 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. So I really have a negative 4 over 2 minus 3 over 2. What's negative 4 over 2 minus 3 over 2? Negative 7 over 2. Does it work? And it equals, so I know I have the right answer. What?
When you say it has to check to work, you mean like 4 points you have to do.
You have to check.
Not 4 points.
4 points. Just hold your panties on and you'll see in a second.
4 points.
You have to check. Are you okay with that one? Alright. Let's do another one. We have an equal to sign. We're still solving. Before I can combine any of this stuff, I need common denominator. The first one right now has an x plus 3. Second, an x minus 3. Second one has an x plus 3. And what does the last one have? Don't say an x squared minus 9. I know that's what it has.
Oh.
Yeah, can I factor it? And if I factor it, what does it factor into? Well, look how cool that is. He has both. So what does this first guy still need if he only has an x minus 3? He needs an x plus 3 on top and bottom. What does the middle guy need? An x minus 3 on top and on bottom. What does the last guy need? Nothing. He already has all my parts. Once the denominators are the same, once the bottoms are the same, what else should be the same? The tops. So I can, once I get my denominators to be the same, I can ignore my denominators and just worry about my tops. On the top, I have a 2 times x plus 3. I have a negative 3 times x minus 3 equal to 12, right? This is my top. Because my bottom's the same, all I have to do is worry about the tops being equal. What do I do now? Distribute. 2x plus what? 6 minus 3x plus 9 equals 12. Will you finish solving that, please, and get me an x equals?
So if I don't check my answer, I get a negative 1. You gotta answer that. If I don't check my answer, I get a negative 1.
Kyle Johnson, be quiet.
So that's no.
Did you get an answer, Kyle Johnson?
Yeah.
What'd you get? X equals 3. If you told me that was your answer, I'd mark you wrong.
Why? It's the right answer. Why do I go wrong?
You be quiet, Victor. Henry. Did you guys get x equals 3? That answer doesn't work. Why?
Oh, because we didn't check it.
You didn't, okay. So what happens if you check it? If I plug in a 3 here, what's 3 minus 3? 0. What's 2 divided by 0? No, it is not. You cannot divide when there is a 0 on the bottom. And there's a 0 under your line, it's undefined. There is no such thing as 0 on the bottom. So if you get an answer, and when you plug it in, you get a 0 on the bottom, what does that mean about your answer? It's undefined. It does not work. When I plug in a 3 here, I end up getting a 0 on the bottom. In math, you're not allowed to have zeros on the bottom. It doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. You could have 0 divided by 2 is 0, but you can't have 2 divided by 0.
But you said all you had to do was solve.
Right?
So that's why we.
So my answer to this one, Kyle Johnson, is not 3. It is.
It's still that, because you only had to
So
solve
it's
it.
salting
Why
and
are you
plugging
talking
in.
so loud and you couldn't last night?
No solution, because I'm recording.
Pretty much.
This beautiful lesson.
You see the top one?
Victor can't see,
Why are you recording
because
this?
I might be gone tomorrow.
So you're, what?
Our YouTube channels are blowing up.
Yeah! I've got requests for more videos on YouTube, so.
Keep saying, no, I don't know.
Alright, this is how cool I am. This is what cool people do. Oh, I wish I was videotaping, not just audio. Alright, the answer to this one is no solution. There is no number, there's no possible number you can put in this equation to make it equal. Okay? You end up getting an answer, x equals 3, but that answer doesn't make sense. It doesn't work in my problem. So the correct answer is no solution. If you told me x equals 3, I'd mark you wrong, because the answer is no solution. Yes, Victor Henry?
I thought you couldn't miss another day.
I can't miss another day. So would you like to take care of my throwing up kid?
Yeah, great.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know if I trust you with my kid. Em?
Is it always gonna be like that when it's like, an X minus something and then an X plus something else they don't do?
No, not necessarily. Okay.
You can't miss another day, how are you gonna miss tomorrow?
Would you worry about yourself? All right, let's do this one. Come on, Smarty Pants, let's do it.
That's too much squinting, I don't feel like doing that.
Yeah, put your glasses on.
X equals -4.
These guys.
What am I gonna do? It's the first thing I'm gonna do. I gotta factor out my bottom. I don't necessarily want to distribute, because distribute is going opposite of what I need. I want to break it down into parts and see what parts everybody has. Okay? So I want to factor all of the bottoms. You should be able to factor all 3 of those bottoms. Will you factor all 3 of those bottoms, please, and I'll catch up with you. Gotta know how to factor. The first factoring, there's no GCF. There's 3 terms and no number in front. What type of factoring is that first one? Basic factor. What numbers multiply to -2 that when you add them together you get +1? Sorry. Thanks. Thank you. Okay. The middle one, GCF. Can I take out a P? No, it doesn't have a P in the 1. So how do I factor that P squared minus 1? P plus 1, P minus 1.
Is this your basement? Oh, God, no, it's not.
That's not right, Kyle Johnson? What's wrong with it?
Plus 1
Oh, plus 1?
and then 2.
Oh, because we need to multiply the 2 and add the 3? Making sure you're paying. Yeah! I don't know. Is this funny? Okay. Are we done? Not even close. What does the first guy still need?
2.
Ooh, a 2.
plus one.
And a p plus 1. He needs a 2 and a p plus 1. He needs to be multiplied by a 2 and a p plus 1 on top and on bottom. What does the middle guy need? A 2 and a p plus 2. He needs to be multiplied by a 2 and a p plus 2. The last guy, what does he need? A p minus 1 because he already has everybody else. Now that my denominators are the same, because I do it to the bottom also. Now that my bottoms are the same, can I ignore?
Yeah.
And just set the tops equal? So on the top, what's 3 times 2? So can I do this? 6 times p plus 1, make it a little bit more simplified. What's negative 1 times 2? Negative 2 times p plus 2. And then I have my 7 times my p minus 1. Alright, so I've combined the numbers in the front. What do I still have to do? Distribute and solve. Will you distribute and solve and get me a p equals, please? Did you get p equals? I forgot. 3? P equals 3? But, Kyle Johnson, what do we have to do?
Stay away from the small.
We solved it, but we have to make sure that our answer makes sense. Did you check that where we are? Where are we?
That's so much to fill that.
We need to check it, right? But if I plug it into my original, back up here, that's a lot of numbers, right? Can I plug it into my factored version down here? Isn't it a little bit easier? Because if I plug in a 3 here, what's 3 plus 2? 5 is not a 0, right? So I'm okay so far. What is 3 plus 1? I mean 3 minus 1. 2, which is not 0, so I'm good so far. What's p? What's 3 plus 1? 4, which is not a 0. What's 3 minus 1? 2, which is not a 0. What is 3 plus 2? 5, which is not a 0. What is 3 plus 1? 4, which is not a 0. Am I going to get a 0 anywhere in my denominator? No. So it should work and make sense. So it's easier to plug it into the factored version, the little parts, instead of the original. Okay? So p equals 3 is the answer, and it is the correct answer. Sometimes you get one answer, that one answer works. Sometimes you get one answer, and that one answer doesn't work, which means you have no solution. Sometimes you get 2 answers, and one of them works. One of them doesn't. You have to double check. And again, if I get an answer, how do I know if it works? What can't happen? A 0 on the bottom. So if I plug it in anywhere, if I get a 0 on the bottom, then that answer doesn't work.
Okay, so if it does work, then I can write that.
If it works, yeah, that's Kyle Johnson, that's your answer. So yes, you'd write that, Kyle Johnson, if you have to factor. You're going to end up foiling through and you're going to get something like this. I don't know, just made up those numbers. You have to factor it. And you get x equals 2 and x equals negative 3 or whatever it is. You have to plug in both those numbers and make sure that it works. Okay? All right. Your homework is 7-4A. It should be done and correct. And I see you tomorrow.
Did you get 3?
You through this P?